Hey guys, Metal Viking 82 here, back to show some more plunder that I've acquired over the last little while. I've been meaning to do more of these, but between work and this life and everything, I can't seem to get around to doing these collection updates as much as I would like. But I got a small stack of 2024 things to go over here. So yeah, we're going to kick things off with a brand new one from Brodekin, or I've heard it pronounced Brodekin, however you want to pronounce it, entitled Harbinger of Woe. And notes are falling here. But yes, brutal death metal band out of Knoxville, Tennessee. Been around since 1998. This is their fourth full-length album put out by Season of Mist. And not only is this the first album for Season of Mist, who they just most recently signed to, but this is also their first album in 20 years. It's so hard to believe it's been that long since we had a full-length. Now, we did get an EP back in 2021 on Unmatched Brutality, which is vocalist Jamie's label, though the site only seems to have Brodekin stuff now, so he must not be really doing that much anymore. But yeah, this thing wastes absolutely no time hitting you with the fast riffs and the blast beats the minute you hit play. The guitars, as I said, are fast paced for the most part, though he does slow down a bit at times to kind of go into a nice chuggy groove. The bass really doesn't stick out too much in the mix. It kind of tends to work with the guitars, kind of lay down a nice heavy wall throughout the album. Absolutely sick drum work all over this thing with lots of fast blast beats and double bass, but much like the guitars, he does slow things down a bit at times, but for the most part, it's pretty much full speed ahead the whole time. Vocally, I think this is some of Jamie's best vocal work yet, though he sounds a little bit different from his previous albums. He still goes for that nice ultra low growl. But yeah, definitely go check this out if you're a fan of brutal death metal. These guys are, one of the big names in brutal death metal from the old guard, I like to think. So yeah, definitely go check that out. Next up, we have a split between Crypt Rot and Radiologist entitled Mauled to Death. Yeah, so this was put out through Rotten Music, and we're going to go over these one at a time here, starting with Crypt Rot, who were a slam/brutal death metal band out of Wales, UK, active between 2020 and 2023. This is the last material we will be getting from Crypt Rot. But yeah, what a way to go out. The guitars have a nice crunch to them. For the most part, they're just, nice slow to mid-paced chugs. The bass, though, much like the Brodekin, does not stand out too much in the mix, but it does provide a nice heavy wall, working with the guitars for that effect. Throughout the 3 tracks that he gets. Lots of nice blast beats all over these 3 tracks. I love the double bass work that he does, and the snare has that Dying Fetus snap to it. If you're a fan of Dying Fetus, you know what I'm talking about. The thing about his 3 tracks, though, this is not just a pure chugathon like you would think. There are some nice headbangable grooves to be found in these 3 tracks, such as the second track, Pray for Mercy, at about 203. Absolutely killer groove right there. Vocally, you get a nice variety of styles with, low growls and roars alongside these just absolutely nasty, sometimes gurgly and beastly sounding screams, and even a few breathes pop up in spots, but those are very, very few and far between, thankfully. Then when you get into the Radiologist side, which is actually, this is my first experience with Radiologist. They are a gore grind/brutal death metal band out of Lower Austria. Not exactly sure when they were formed. It is a 2-man project, though. With their 3 tracks, you get dirty sounding guitars that hit you with, slow to mid-paced chugged riffs with some slightly faster riffs and spots. And then there's even a few like death chorus riffs that kind of pop up, such as in track number 6, Penectomy, which sounds very painful. The bass has this nice fuzzy tone to it, and it sits a little bit lower in the mix, though it does kind of cut through more in spots. I will give them that. The drums are just absolutely insane. It doesn't say anything about there being a drum machine. It just says one of the members handles all the instruments, but the way some of these blasts and everything go, I would almost say that was definitely a drum machine. They are just absolutely crazy when it comes to the blast beats. Vocally, there's not much variation, though, I gotta say. Mainly he sticks with these low, gurgly, they almost sound kind of pitch shifted growls. Doesn't really do anything other than that throughout the entirety of their half of the split, I should say. Sorry, it's been a long day. I cannot talk. But yeah, all things combined with this, including the samples that they use in their tracks, definitely gives this, their side a bit of a Mortician vibe at times. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm too much of a fan of their side. Like I said, there was a little bit more variety in the vocals. Maybe I might get a little more into it. The little Mortician-esque elements to it are kind of appealing because I'm a huge Mortician fan. But yeah, overall, Crypt Rot definitely takes my takes my vote. There we go. Like I said, it's been a long day. I cannot talk for shit. Next up, Brat with Social Grace. Yeah, this is a grindcore / power violence / death metal band out of New Orleans, Louisiana. Been around since 2020. This is their debut full-length album put out by Prosthetic Records. And I actually got introduced to this band with their compilation of both of their first EPs that I picked up on tape a little while back. So when they announced they were signing to Prosthetic and releasing a full length, I could not wait. Yeah, when you listen to this, you get mostly fast-paced guitars, nice and crunchy, throwing in these, nice heavy mid-tempo chugs as well. Thick, twangy bass is right up in the mix, like I like it. Solid drum work with some really nice blast beats. And then vocalist Liz Selvish's vocals are these nice, powerful roars that definitely bring to mind Katarina from Escuela Grind just a little bit. It's not like, they sound exactly the same, but they kind of have a similar style of how they deliver their vocals. A couple things I did pick out while I was listening to this, though. Track number 6, Rope Drag. I love the opening riff to that song, combined with the little cymbal work that they're doing, with this cool little bass section coming in about 17 seconds into the song. And then you get a nice little drum roll, and then it's full speed ahead for the rest of the song. Then you get into the closing track, the title track, Social Grace. Starting at about 28 seconds into that song, there's a nice heavy chugged section leading to a really nice headbangable groove that goes for a little while. And then later on in the song, about a minute 52 in, you get this heavy as fuck bass section, just kind of a little lead bass section that leads to yet another headbangable groove. Absolutely killer stuff. I mean, in this, for being a full length, it is pretty short. It's 10 tracks and just a little over 21 minutes. But yeah, it's nice and heavy. It's a really fun listen for sure that you just, you can't help but return to this thing. I think these guys and gal have released an absolutely killer debut full length, and I definitely look forward to seeing what else they have in store for us. Another one that I was really anxious about getting, and there was a little confusion with my order at one point because I got an email saying that it had gotten canceled, and I'm like, it's like, well, I just got one that said it shipped, and now you're saying it's canceled. What is it? And apparently the guys had put the wrong tracking number info in, so they had to cancel it and then redo it. So kind of a huge headache, but well, not a huge headache, but definitely a head scratcher, that's for sure. But yeah, this is the new Gorgasm with Sadicist. More brutal death metal, this time out of Chicago, Illinois. Been around since 1994. This is the band's first new material in 10 years. This is 3 tracks, 10.5 minutes of just sheer brutality. After a really chilling sample taken from a Killer's interview, the band wastes absolutely no time hitting you with a flurry of fast guitars, blast beats, and growls. You basically got old school death metal style guitars mixing fast as fuck riffing with this heavy, slow chugs and pinch harmonics, thick, twangy bass that cuts through the mix while not being too high up and overpowering. And just lots of just fast blast beats and double bass work. Sick lower register growls mixed with kind of slightly higher ones, and just add a nice perfect layer to this absolutely brutal EP. Really glad to see these guys back with some new material. Hopefully it won't be too much longer. We will get a full length because these guys absolutely whoop ass. All right. Next up, we got one from Head Split Records, one of 2 that are in this video. This is the latest from Hemorrhoid, entitled Raw Materials of Decay. death metal slash grindcore band out of Portland, Oregon. Again, do not know when they exactly formed. There was no info on the archives or anything, but this is their debut full-length album, put up, as I said, by Headsplit Records. And yeah, this is an absolutely sick album. Thick sounding bass. I love this little solo section that it gets. The track number 9, Raw Materials of Decay, at about 2:11, as you really get a good sense of that slightly fuzzy tone that it has. That's about the best and clearest that you can hear it throughout the entire thing. Heavy, just grimy sounding guitars, lots of sick blast beats. This is just 15 tracks and a little over 24 minutes of filthy, disgusting death grind that you can't help but go back for more. Cannot recommend this one enough. This will probably end up being on my year-end list, I think. Next up, Pit Lord with Hunter Griller. Death metal band out of Davenport, Iowa. Again, another band that I do not know exactly when they were formed because there was nothing listed on the archives. This is basically a 2-man barbecue-themed death metal band. You know, who doesn't love a good barbecue? This is the band's 3rd EP overall, put out by the band themselves, and this is just another killer addition to their catalog. Thick guitars hit you with mid to fast-paced riffs, as well as some chug sections and some nice headbangable grooves. Thick bass is easily heard throughout the entire EP. Lots of nice patterns, rolls, and fills, and blast beats and double bass work all over these songs. Vocally, you get some nice, powerful mid-range growls mixed with some deathly shouts, and they just top off this platter of brutality perfectly. One of the things that I picked out on here, it comes in track number 4, Kill Step. I absolutely love that slow, heavy chug section at about 3:38 into the song, with these nice double bass bursts right underneath of it, because you got that heavy, chuggy riff and this little, little burst. Absolutely love that. But yeah, go check out Pit Lord, and if you order from them, you will also get a wet nap from them. Those little wet napkins. They have their own little, wet napkins that they send in their order. So that's kind of cool. I've actually got several of those sitting around. And the last one for this little update, also a Headsplit release. This is the Posthumous Regurgitation with the Coroner's Guide to Cadaveric Cuisine. Gore grind band from Portland, Oregon, been around since 2017. This is their debut full-length album, as I said, put out by Headsplit Records. And this is just an absolutely another killer release from this label. Crunchy guitars hit with these mid to fast-paced riffs, as well as some nice chuggy grooves, thick bass, solid drums overall, with some really nice blast beats throughout this whole thing. Lots of Mortician-esque riffs on this thing, I will say that. Such as, track number 6, Corpse Pus Pate, at about 1:14 in. You hear that riff and you automatically think of Mortician. Low growls and roars mixed with these nasty wretches, as well as these, phlegmy, gurgly style vocals that just make you think of not only Carcass, but also the County Medical Examiners, which is a band you don't hear too many people mention. I swear, I feel like I'm the only one that ever mentions the County Medical Examiners. But yeah, this thing ends with an absolutely killer cover of a General Surgery song, Grotesque Laceration of Mortified Flesh. I thought they did an absolutely killer job with that. So yeah, another killer release on Headsplit Records. And for 2024, go check this out. Another one I cannot recommend highly enough. And yeah, that is going to do it. Sorry, I've fumbled throughout this whole thing. Like I said, it's been a long day. I've been up since 2 o'clock this morning for work and everything. So I'm tired, but I wanted to get this knocked out. And yeah, that is going to do it. Thank you guys so much for watching and subscribing. And until next time, stay brutal.